You are listening to Zen and the Art of Triathlon.
Well, hey there, all you triathlon freaks and geeks, and welcome to another great episode of Zen and the Art of Triathlon, the podcast where we go long on endurance and learn a little Zen to improve ourselves along the way. All right, let's go for a drive. I am not leaving the pool, as I usually am, but I am taking a little journey in the car. Makes such a great recording studio. It's nice, clear audio, and then little distractions to help the conversation kind of flow. I like doing it. All right, I have a question, a fueling question for training, and we're going to cover that in just a second. Last podcast, I mentioned that I was going to talk about using your tendons and ligaments instead of your muscles to exercise, and this is a really fascinating, interesting, and useful piece of information. I can't wait to tell you guys. So a long time ago, I was in a coaching clinic, and the lecturer was one of the best coaches in the world in running. It's like a world Olympic coach. And he mentioned this, that as much as you can, you try to use the elasticity of your tendons to propel you. Swim, bike, and run, if possible. Definitely running. And your tendons take pretty much no calories. They're just rubber bands. And what you do is you do use your muscles. But we're getting right into it, aren't we? You do use your muscles to put you in a position to use your tendons. So you don't try to get away with not using your muscles at all. But you try to minimize the use of them and maximize the use of rubber banding. And if you've got an engineering mindset, you can start saying, oh, this is getting really, really interesting. Right? So an example would be if you're hanging from a pull-up bar, it is so much easier to hang than with your arms straight. Then what if you hung from the pull-up bar with your muscles half contracted, like your biceps half contracted? Your biceps would get exhausted so quickly. And unfortunately, in a lot of what we're doing, we do that without knowing it, and the people that are way faster aren't doing that. They are using their tendons and ligaments to return energy at the appropriate time. It's all about timing, and that's why they're so much faster, because they require no blood flow. That's one reason why if they get injured, it takes forever for them to heal, because there's nothing going to them to heal them. That's bad, but it also proves the point. But the example he gave is lean forward on your feet just a little bit and bounce up and down, kind of like you're doing jump rope. And that's a really good example. Pretend like you're doing jump rope, but use the elasticity of the underside of your foot and your Achilles tendons and the back of your hamstrings and all that to tippy-toe kind of bounce across the room. And you only bounce like a half an inch, 2 inches up and down off the ground on your forefeet. And if you do this, you'll notice that you can, and you do it quickly, you notice that you can bounce across the room using this rubber band motion without hardly using any of your muscles at all, right? But you're springy. Now, he said, contrast that. He had us all line up against the wall. Contrast that with walking across the room, doing deep squats, like single leg squats, one leg at a time, in front of the other. Walk across the room. Go use your muscles. Go down deep and then use your muscles to lift you and move you forward. And feel the difference. And it immediately exhausts your muscles to do that. So the more that you can learn to use the elasticity and rubber banding action of your, like a pogo stick, like the spring action, then the faster you will be, because you will use less energy to go the same speed or even faster. And where you do use your muscles is to, position your body to lean forward, maybe balance, stuff like that. And but the forward propulsion, as much as possible, try to get it from the elasticity of your tendons. So I already knew all this from years ago. I talk about it every once in a while on the podcast. But I was listening to a different show the other day, and it had, I think it was Sean Bearden who does Talk Ultra. No. Oh, what's the name of that podcast? It's Ultra. Oh, I forgot something. But anyway, he's got kind of a raspy, scratchy voice, but he is legit like the one of the leading physiologists in running. And he said, this is a really interesting number, that in a study, they showed it was something like 80 or 90% of your strength when you're running does not come from push, contracting the muscles. Instead, it comes from the load spreading sideways into the elasticity and to other areas, into the elasticity, and that resistance, it hitting a rubber banding, like it hits resistance trying to go sideways, and then when your body structure responds back with the bounce, the rebound back, that's directed into forward motion. It's directed into force, which pushes you off. And I was like, whoa, dude. I knew all this other stuff, but I didn't have a number. 80 to 90%. 80 to 90%. So look for a podcast from, well, he was a guest on another training podcast, fortunately. And no. He was on, what's the guy that does the Cosmos stuff recently? The really good science spokesperson. I'll think of it in a minute. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all are probably saying it. It's why. Anyway, so there's all that. So I was swimming this morning, and I'm doing my glide, and swimming is so fascinating because there's in no other sport have I seen people who are faster. The disparity between fast and slow is so wild, and it's so hard to see what's going on, even though they're in clear water watching everything. It's just amazing to watch the difference between people that are really fast and people that are slow to middle, and what are they doing differently. And so while I was swimming this morning, I think about this all the time, actually, and I had a moment of revelation where I was watching a guy after I got out, and he's doing this thing that is definitely will slow you down, where they set their arms down in the water. And what you're supposed to do is throw your arm forward and then it enters kind of flat, and that momentum of that throw propels you forward. And you do that throw, you say it's your right arm that you're throwing overhead as you're breathing. You anchor and hook with your left arm, like throwing a baseball. You turn sideways, right? And you throw your left arm down as a counterbalance to your right arm. So your left arm acts as an anchor. And also you push off with your back right leg if you're throwing a baseball. And you use your left leg as an anchor and your left arm as an anchor point to counter your throw against. Well, you do all that while swimming. You hook your left arm into the water with your pole, and with that pull and sitting on your left hip as well, you twist and throw your right arm overhead. And over time, you figure out how to twist and throw your right arm overhead straight. It goes overhead, but as it enters the water, it ends up straight. So that way it doesn't cause drag. It enters straight. And then, just like throwing a baseball, when you, you end up with I think if you throw right-handed, you end up with your right leg behind you. Because it's like your push-off leg. Your right leg is your push-off leg when you throw a baseball. Well, as your arm enters the water, your right arm enters the water, you kick with your right foot, perfectly time it, and what's fascinating is you watch really fast swimmers doing kind of like a medium pace. Their arm enters their water, their arm enters the water, and as the arm enters with that kick, perfectly timed, it's almost like they're squeezing themselves into the water from overhead down in, but flat. And there's nowhere to go but forward. So it's a lot of action. It's smooth, but it's powerful into a squeeze. And that's why then they glide for a second. And that's where that mystery is of how are they going so far? Sorry. How are they going so far on that glide it looks like they're not doing anything? Well, it's all with the momentum, that hook on the left side and planting on the left side, and then that throw, everything on the right side. I'm about to get out of the car and I'll test my which foot's behind me if I'm throwing a baseball. We'll do that in a second. And make sure I don't hit this guy checking his mail. He's a little too paranoid. I'm nowhere near you, dude. Anyway, with all that extra motion on the right-hand side, that when your right arm enters the water, you've got that push, you got that pull from your left, and you got that kick that's that push all at the same time. Well, then you glide, and you're streamlined, so it's just smooth. And then you try to repeat it on the other side. People end up being better on one side than the other, and that's okay. That's actually the way. It's lopsided a little bit, and it's called a hybrid stroke. Hook with the left, hook on one side, swing with the other. But it ends up, when you time it, Phelps, Ian Thorpe, I don't know if Mark Spitz did it. But anyway, it all works. Ooh, looks like our Christmas wreath fell off the front door. Whew. Let's go into the ZenTri home recording studios and see what we can do here. We're outside now. Let's see, if I'm throwing a baseball with my right hand, I stand on my right foot, I lift up my left leg, and then you end up pushing off with your right foot. So that's your kick as you throw your arm. It's just like throwing a baseball over and over and over again on each side. And there's all that. I got a whole bunch of crap I need to get out of my car. Then on top of that, I want to talk about the elasticity and the rubber banding thing. The dogs are going to go crazy when they hear me pulling up. As I'm doing that glide, I noticed today, as I'm stretched out and I'm gliding, my right arm's gliding out in front of me, that it was becoming very efficient and non-tiring, saving the muscle energy, saving your calories and your contractions, to stretch that arm out, press the chest down a little bit, and you ought to do this. Go up to a wall and put your face towards the wall. Have your feet a couple feet back from the wall, but facing the wall. And put your arm up over your head. Say it's your right arm. And there's some sirens. I guess there was an accident. Put your arm straight up over your head and lean in your arm. And now, do you feel that tightness in your shoulder and in your elbow and the inside of your armpit? That is your tendons resisting. And that's actually what you need to use. You use that for your strength. So it just takes a little bit of muscle strength to throw your arm over your head, right? And then your arm's straight over your head, and then you load up on that rubber band by really stretching your arm out straight and pushing your chest down and feeling that tightness. And then you start to pull a little bit. Let me get the keys, unlock the door here. You start to pull a little bit, and so that your arm's making that scoop that they always talk about, like your arm's over a barrel a little bit. Hello, Lucy, I'm home. And now that you've created that hook shape, you don't really pull that much anymore for a half a second, but you start to contract your lats, your underarm muscles, not your bicep or your tricep so much, but your lats and your abs, which are way stronger when you combine that, and instead of your biceps and forearm, right? So it saves your biceps and forearm, and now you're using your abs and your lats, and you're pulling those, and you just keep your bicep kind of locked a little bit with it half bent, maybe somewhat, a third bent, and your hand is a scoop. But that rubber banding action, it acts as the rest of the load bearing, and it works. You actually end up saving a ton of energy. Get outside. Get on, get. You end up saving a lot of energy. I guess another way to put it is if I'm going to do it. Where's a wall? I'm going to go up to a door frame. That way I don't put my hands on the wall. Do you like your arm is like a half bent, like you're scooping, like you're doing your swim pull, and then lean forward with your head down into that. And so you feel your pec and your shoulder joint like stretching as if it's not going to be able to go any farther. That's where you want to load it up like that. And load that up instead of contracting. Load it up with resistance instead of spending a lot of calories contracting and so forth. Unlike our who thinks you have only so many workouts left in you or something, like your body's like a battery or whatever. I can tell you that, well, that's stupid and not true. On race day or during a workout, that is true. You only have so many contractions in you, and you want to try to learn to be more efficient with them so that you can use them the best way to finish either your race or your workout. Okay, now I have an email. Where'd it go? Oh, it's on my phone. I have a message. Let me pull up his name here on Instagram. Somebody asked me, No Pro John. I like that name. That's pretty good. No Pro John says, "Howdy, Brett. I've reached the point of realization with regards to my swim fueling, i.e. that I could do with having some, not just surviving on electrolytes and preloading, particularly when doing a brick session. On your podcast, I've heard you mention your homemade drink /fuel, and I was wondering if your recipe was available. I think you did mention an episode, but I can't remember which. Thanks, John." Yeah, sure. And also, I've gotten some messages from people lately saying that they're using it, what I'm about to tell you, and they love it. It works really great. You need 2-to-1 maltodextrin to sucrose, okay? Maltodextrin, you can buy it in bulk. I just bought a 50-pound bag of it in bulk it'll be like $75 delivered to my door, right? And I got it from Honeywell. And, I've got a scoop, and then I measure the weight of it with a scoop, and got a little kitchen scale. So I know in my scoop about what's 100 calories. And then sucrose, you can use table sugar. And also you want to add in some salt, electrolytes like salt stick or whatever. But what you want to stay away from is fructose, just plain fructose. Fructose tends to make people's stomach hurt, makes them feel ill. Kind of like when you're going to throw up a little bit. A lot of that is overload of fructose. Fructose it tastes great. That's the fruit in fructose. It's super sweet. And that's what they use to sweeten stuff. But that's like if you eat too much candy, it's not processed directly. It's processed through your liver, and I think your liver just gets like sick of it, and it's like, bleh. And that's that ill feeling, and then you start throwing it up. But sucrose while it is half fructose, it's also half glucose, and it's bound together in a way that it doesn't seem to upset your stomach anywhere near as bad. So when I was started making my own fuel, I started looking around for sucrose. So there's table sugar, which is sucrose. I'm trying to think of some other examples, but I guess honey might be straight sucrose. I ought to Google it and see if is honey sucrose or whatever. But then I stumbled across my favorite, which is maple syrup. And it needs to be real maple syrup, 100% real maple syrup, because a lot of what they say is quote unquote maple syrup is fake. It's high fructose corn syrup with some kind of maple flavoring or some crap like that. Real maple syrup. Now, maple syrup is expensive. If you buy it in the small glass jars like they sell at the grocery store, what you need to do is look a little bit longer at the grocery store, and they sell it like in quarts. Like a quart, and I've got one right here. It'll last you for a freaking month. Pure maple syrup. I use Coombs, Coombs, Family Farms. It's kind of like this grayish tan, plastic, opaque. Looks like a little maple syrup pouring jar. 32 fluid ounces. So what is that, a quart? And it says grade A, dark color, robust taste, pure maple syrup. Now, I'm reading the back of the thing. It's pretty cool. When you buy it in a bigger container, it gets way cheaper. And then you're like, okay, now I don't feel like I'm being ripped off anymore. And 1 tablespoon is about 60 calories. So I'll do like 100, 110, maybe 120 calories maltodextrin, which is what my scoop will measure out. And then 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, and that's about 60 calories. So that's 2-to-1 of maltodextrin to sucrose, which is maple syrup. It works fantastic. And what you do is just scale that up. Do you want more or less? And the bonus upside of maple syrup, besides it having some stuff in it that's good for you because it's got vitamins and minerals, is that it is it's non-sticky. So let's say a regular Coke or Gatorade or whatever, stuff that's got fructose in it, for example. I'm opening up my backpack here, getting out my laptop. We're going to probably look up what is honey. Is it sucrose or glucose or fructose or B-crose? If you spill a Coke or Gatorade in one of these sugary drinks, on stuff, you'll notice this stuff gets real sticky. It gets to be a real big mess, and it attracts bees. Pretty bad. I don't know if maple syrup does or doesn't attract bees. Well, maybe we'll Google that too. And let's see. Is honey sucrose? Let's type that in. But maple syrup, if you spill that, like a drink with maple syrup, I'm reading the sugar is 100% sucrose. Honey is made up around 75% sugars, which roughly half is glucose, and well, that's half. Oh, well, no, wait, that's the same. So what's the difference? I'm reading. Sucrose, glucose, and fructose are bound together to form sucrose, right? In honey, fructose and glucose are primarily independent of each other. Honey does have more fructose than glucose. Okay, so honey's probably not. That's interesting. I need to read that. Let's open that one up. So my drink with maple syrup kind of stuff in it, I'll spill it eventually. You spill it on your bike or whatever, you're drinking out your bottles and stuff. Dude, it rinses right off immediately. It does not stick. You're using a tablespoon, to pour it in your whatever. It does not stick. It is awesome. This page does not seem to exist. Damn it! And honey, is it healthier than sugar? Scroll down. I thought I saw the word maple syrup. Maybe I didn't. Okay. Sugar, table sugar, is 100% sucrose, which is 50-50, and bound together, I guess. Honey is made up around 75% sugars, which roughly half is glucose and half is fructose. The remaining 20-25% is water with a trace of protein. It's inconsequential on the protein, though, by the way. Trace of fat and a trace of fiber. Oh, well, maybe. So it's the same thing, but with water in it. Okay. So tablespoon here, so measure for measure. Honey is more calories because honey is denser, and 1 tablespoon, whereas a tablespoon of sugar weighs only blah, blah, blah. So you need to weigh your stuff, by the way, or just know. So if you're substituting, let's see, this is interesting. Honey has a glycemic index of between 45 and 64, which is lower than sugar, which is 65. Oh, that's about the same. It doesn't really matter. The GI varies with the level of fructose. The more fructose, the lower the GI. That's because it takes a little bit longer. That's why it hurts your stomach. It backs up. Floral honeys have a lower GI. In Australia, where I live, okay. So now what I'm looking for, which I don't think I'm going to find at the moment, is what in honey, whether the sucrose and fructose is bound together, or glucose and fructose is bound together. That was a really interesting note we just read there. Oh, wait, here it is. I'm on it. I found it. Oh, interesting. Check this out. In sugar, glucose and fructose are bound together to form sucrose, which comes from sugar beets or sugar canes, more commonly known as table sugar. In honey, fructose and glucose are primarily independent of each other. Whoa, weird. That could be either good or bad. The difference between digestion of honey compared to the digestion of sugar lies in composition enzymes. Sucrose passes through the stomach without any digestion happening because of its disaccharide, a sugar composed of 2 monosaccharides composition. This means that the enzymes in the stomach cannot break down the glucose-fructose structure of the table sugar until it reaches the small intestine. Then the liver utilizes a few enzymes. Okay. Honey is different because of the enzymes that are added to the nectar by bees that divide the sucrose into 2 simple sugars, fructose and glucose. These sugars are directly absorbed by our bodies and are easier to digest. Interesting. So that's something to try. You could do maple syrup and then try honey as your sucrose, because they're both sucroses. It's just honey is separated. Interesting. Those bees doing all the hard work. That's such like a bee, isn't it? To go ahead and split it so it's easier to digest for their babies. Okay. Let's see. I'm getting out a lunch. So I would do that. Now, the other thing is if you get in I would watch out. The big question by No Pro John is, do you fuel for a swim workout? And I would be cautious about that because swim workouts are usually an hour, and I don't think this is what he's getting at though. Hold on, John. I'm working your way. I've found that when I start bringing fuel to a swim workout, that I start becoming sugar dependent. And then I can't work out at all without needing some kind of sugar, and it sucks. My life becomes miserable because then I have no energy before my workout, and I got to sugar up, and then I feel like crap and, all that stuff. But what he's actually asking about is for longer workouts. So you're training for something where you do a swim and then a bike. Then, yes, you're starting to get into the territory of your bike's going to suffer because you've burned through all your calories on the swim if you didn't fuel up enough. Now, I would not fuel during my swim. I would pre-fuel before my swim and run off of that, but with a little bit more slower burning kind of stuff. And then, because I think it's a mistake to swim, to fuel while you do your swim practices. At least one thing in your life, let's try not to sip on fuel constantly, and that'll benefit your other workouts, get you better fat burning. But the thing is, going into the bike ride, you're going to be depleted. So what you're looking for is before your swim is something slow burning, but that's not going to bother your stomach. So I would eat something. What I do is I eat a granola cereal, but with whole milk. Let me look. Am I using whole milk right now? Yeah, so whole milk or 2% milk. That way it's got some fat in it, and that fat and protein. And then what that does is it slows down the granola. And the granola is kind of slow too because it's got fiber in it. I'm worried about my cat trying to eat my headphones. Hey, we're on to you, dude. And then you can go into your swim and have even energy for your whole swim because it's slowly burning off. And this cat is cat, let's get out of here, buddy. Come on. There you go. I'm getting him off the counter. It's making me nervous. I've probably bought 5 pair of headphones over my life from this cat chewing through them because, I don't know, he wants attention or something like that. And then he'll chew through these headphones. It drives me crazy. You're like, they were fine yesterday, and then all of a sudden only the left side works. And then you look closely and there's a bite mark. And he does it while I'm asleep. He walks up and down me while he's trying to wake me up to feed him in the morning. And I'll hear him like start going after headphones that are on the bedside table or something like that. And I'll have to grab them quick and throw them in a drawer, or he's going to start chewing on those because he knows it'll get me up because I'm angry, and then I'll feed him. He's a very food-driven cat. But yeah, what I've done is, now Ironman is different. Like, you're going into a big Ironman, like you really load up on calories and then let it settle. But mornings that I swim, I have a bowl of cereal with whole fat milk. I usually do some kind of granola cereal with a mix of I'll tell you, I got the box right here. It's coconut chia, right? So it's got some stuff that's kind of slow in it. Whole milk, and then I actually wait about an hour before I go swim. That's kind of starting to settle a little bit. Have a cup of coffee, and then I hit the swim, and I swim a full hour with no problems whatsoever. But and then I could easily get on the bike and then start loading up on calories again. So I suggest that. And again, I would not start fueling with sugary stuff during your swim. I think that it's a mistake. I think that you start doing that, it'll start compromising your other workouts, and then also it's not something you do on race day. I don't know why. If everybody did it, I would totally do it. I guess because there's not enough clean water to drink during your swim to digest. You need about 8 to 12 ounces of water to digest a gel. But can you imagine like halfway through the Ironman swim? I bet you some people have done it, popping a gel and then taking a few mouthfuls of water if the water was clean, like Lake Tahoe maybe, and then keep on going. Dude, you'd feel great. But that's just, I guess you could do like a flask on you, if you like a flat flask, and drink like a half a gel that way. But anyway, it turns out it's not really a thing that you need. You can load up before the swim and do that, and that's it. All right, I need to eat some lunch myself, get in some calories, and get some coaching done. All right, that's out. I'll be back in a minute. Out, bang.
Why are you acting all crazy? Why are you doing that? Go. I know, we're on you. They're gonna get you. They're gonna get you.
Run. All right, we are back. I have a little running warm-up tip I want to share with everybody that I've come across lately. I think it's really handy. I didn't do it this morning, and I could totally tell the difference of it my run not being as good in the beginning as it has been recently. And what happened was I started to try to make my first mile or so on my run in the morning be less painful because I was overcoming injuries. All I needed to do was just kind of stretch out my calves, and I was looking for a way to do that. And I live on a street that's kind of a hill, and like I can't run on flat ground gently. Like I just need I need flat ground, basically a very controlled environment to warm up, and then I can run. I've noticed that if I run, too steep downhill, too steep uphill, it's just like banging me around and it hurts. It's like riding that roller coaster ride called the Zipper at the cheap carnival that they have at the mall parking lot. The one that spins you as it flips you upside down, as it rotates you around. And I call it a 3-minute car wreck is what it feels like. That's kind of what it feels like when you run without warming up, if you're trying to pamper some injuries and stuff. Anyway, I don't remember how I stumbled across it. I probably wanted to get on the bike and then changed my mind or something like that and went for a run instead. I know what it was, is I noticed that brick runs, my calves were nowhere near as tight because on the bike, I'd already kind of stretched them out. So I said, okay, this run, I'm going to get on, before I go run outside, I've got a bike, and you may too, have a bike already on the stationary trainer. Or I guess you could just hop on a bike. I've got a mountain bike with flat pedals on it. I could do that too if I wanted to. But I hopped on the stationary bike and pedaled for a while. And I turned on my bike computer so I could see the watts and pedaled for a couple of minutes until my watts were what they were supposed to be, like for a good bike ride. Or decent, not too bad. And it was amazing. Like I noticed my first mile was a 30 seconds to a minute per mile faster. I'm in third gear. I need to be in drive. There we go. I was in third gear for a school zone. Just running along my run, my legs were already kind of warmed up and my form was way better. And it's running with bad form is what injures you. So if you could prevent that by just hopping on the bike and pedaling, then that's pretty good. And then I got even better about it. Check this out. Hold on, I need a sip of coffee. It's cold outside. By the way, I got a cheap jacket I want to mention to y'all. Then on the bike also, I ramped up the resistance and pedaled standing up. And pedaling standing up really stretches out your calves and gets your hips all into it. And I would do that until I just about start to break a sweat. So for like just a couple minutes. Yeah, maybe 3 minutes, I guess. I was about to say 5 minutes, but I don't think it was 5 minutes. Just like 3 minutes. And my other trick with that is I leave my bike shoes clipped into my stationary bike. One, so my dog can't take them and chew on them like he did with one other pair of really expensive cycling shoes. And then the other upside is I'm about to go run, and I just have on my running shoes and my cycling socks. So I just kick off my running shoes and just hop on the bike. And yeah, I'm wearing my jogging shorts or whatever, but it's not that big of a deal. And I kind of pedal and then get going, and boom. I up the resistance, do some standing, pedaling. I go out and run, and my run is way better. So I didn't do that this morning, and I'm about to get into why with that. And my first, 2 miles or so of my run just felt like I make notes on everything. It felt all jaggedy, like just, even though my turnover was good, my form was just I felt like I was banging into the ground and just a mess. So there's that. The other thing is I couldn't find my right freaking headphone this morning, and it completely disrupted my schedule. I've got everything timed so that I execute exactly right, and I've really got no margin for error. And I've learned that if I give myself a margin for error, I end up wasting that time anyway. So that's not a solution either. But this morning was really annoying. I realized I get about 15-20 minutes I give myself in the morning after I have a little bowl of cereal and a cup of coffee, and I kind of sit down. But I don't do anything, but I just sit there and think about my day. And I've got like a daily planner kind of out, what am I doing and stuff. And about 20 minutes, is a nice amount of time. That's where you run out of ideas and you're just like, okay, I think I got everything. Well, like 8 minutes in, I go, where's my right headphone? And I started looking around for it, and I couldn't find it. And I'm like, oh, shoot. And so I started looking, and it took me like 15 minutes to find this right headphone. I was doing the iCloud thing where it's like, search for your headphones and make a sound. And then that stopped working correctly. And then I have 2 sets of AirPods. Apparently I've got AirPods, Brett's AirPods, and then Brett's AirPods with a Z for some reason. I'm not sure why, in the system. So it doesn't even know. I'm not even sure I'm like pinging the right ones. I can't hear it. I'm in different rooms with my phone as a flashlight, which is a crappy flashlight. And it's just a freaking mess. And so by the time I find them, my calming planning of the day, get centered time is gone, plus some. And I need to go right into my run, and that's why I didn't get my warm-up time. And then now I'm late for work, and so my additional few minutes I can get at work and kind of get centered and all that stuff is going to be gone as well. It's going to be right into, fixing this and un-effing that, answering emails and all this stuff. But I do have a pleasant story. A few weeks ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, I was at lunch, eating lunch at Freebird's next to Old Navy. I went into Old Navy, and at a discount rate, 40% off, I think it was. They had a, these, it's been the trend for the past couple of years, like these puffy jackets that are kind of smooth, but they're quilted with the stitching, so they're kind of puffy, but they're thin. They're not super puffy. I've got a puffy jacket with down that's an Eddie Bauer from the 1990s that is a parka, right? But anyway, these are more reasonable. There's my buddy. He shaved his beard. It's December. Dude was like a grizzly bear. I'm keeping going with mine. I've been growing a beard. It's been rock and rolling. But this, I got the black one. That way it'll go with everything. And dude, it is super light. So I think it was $40. Even at 40% off, it was still $40. Super, super light. It's water resistant of sorts. And dude, it is freaking warm. And it's super easy to just carry around. It stuffs down to nothing. It is amazing. So if you don't have one already and you want to get into one and try it out, dude, Old Navy, the puffy jacket, I don't know what to call it. Big coat from Seinfeld. I like it. I like it a lot. And it's just a ton of warmth. And because it's got a zipper all the way down the front, you can, if you start getting too warm, you can just unzip it. And then if it starts getting really too warm, you just take it off, put it down wherever. And it's so light or whatever, it's not like a burden to carry around at all. It's like really bizarre how well it works. Anyway, that's it. I need to go into W to the ERK. Out. Bang. All right, we are back. I just heard something really cool on one of the many productivity podcasts I listen to that allows us to visualize what actually makes you happy and what gives you purpose in life. And the guy was saying, he's a former CEO, and then he was all about results at his job. And then he started coming down with Parkinson's. And he thought, there's more to life than this. This happens to so many of us. And he then started running more and kind of getting his life together. But anyway, he said, visualize a rubber band between 2 points. And the point is where you are. One point is where you are, point A, and point B is where you want to be. I guess that's a good way to remember point B. Anyway, then he said you have to create tension between those 2 points, a little bit of tension. And that was the whole point, is life without just a little bit of tension, at least, maybe more. I guess it depends on the person. Then it's not an exciting life and you're not fulfilling yourself, and then things just feel slack. Like, imagine that rubber band just hanging limp because there's no tension from where you are to where you want to be. And then those that tension is actually stored energy, and then you use that energy. Or imagine playing a guitar with the strings loose and just limp. It doesn't sound bad. And of course, the Buddhist thing, actually, here's your moment of Zen. The Buddhist thing is middle path, which is a guitar string that, or whatever they called their instrument, their common stringed instrument back there, is, it sounds good when it's got the right amount of tension. Too much tension, it could snap, actually, but before it snaps, it sounds like crap. And then not enough tension, it sounds loose and floppy. That's where you see people that just have no goals in life, and they're lazy, but they're miserable and depressed. So the right amount of tension makes you feel excited and energized. Notice it if you pay attention during your day, the times where you're most in the flow and in the zone and feel most fulfilled is when you've got a goal that you're trying to accomplish and you're engaged with it. So the trick is to look at where you are and then set, because I don't really think you can do much about that, and then set a goal that's set several goals, maybe like break apart your life into different categories, segments, sectors, and then set goals for things that are stretch. They call them stretch goals. Stretch goals that create a little bit of tension and get you thinking about stuff. So, for example, I notice that I am ready and wanting to do a race or an event or something cool whenever I start thinking about it while training. And I was thinking about the Magnolia Masters swim camps. And while I'm swimming, during my swim workouts, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I wonder what this swim camp is going to be like. Are people going to be watching me and watching my stroke? What are they going to think? They're going to think, oh, that guy's not as good as he thinks he is. Or, oh, that guy's better than I thought he would be. Or crap, are they going to ask me to dive off of a block and sprint? Because I haven't done that in so long, I'll probably break myself. Or are we going to do fast sets and slow sets? And what lane, if it's multiple lanes, what lane will I be in, right? So I start thinking about it. Now I'm engaged. I've got this energy and this tension that keeps me motivated throughout the day. And one thing that definitely works for me is to set up things that are difficult and then try to do them just because people think that they can't be done or it's just a little bit too difficult. They'll be like, I'll show you, I can do it. All right, so there's all that. And also I wanted to mention, we've been talking about fueling off and on and my whole life of this podcast. And one thing is there's the right amount, there's the middle path, the right amount for you of carbs before you work out and your blood sugar. And I accidentally, I got lost in the moment and thought I was making fuel for like a bike or a run, but I wasn't. I was, so I put maltodextrin powder in my coffee, and along with, I put about a tablespoon, maybe less, in my coffee on the way to the pool, and that kind of ups my blood sugar so that when I start off swimming, I'm ready to go. But it's not too much. It's just the right amount. And then but what I've been suspicious that maltodextrin on top of that, it's either the maltodextrin in general or the maltodextrin on top of that that's too much. The maltodextrin possibly depends on the person, but in me, possibly it burns too fast. And then it's not that it's too many calories. It was too fat. It could have been that it was too many calories in general. I'm not really sure. I guess I could try about 60 calories of maltodextrin Friday when I swim again and see if I feel the same way. But I don't like that. I like maple syrup because it's all natural, you know. But anyway, I was swimming and I felt hollow. I felt like low energy and a little, not really shaky, but just a little bit. And I was like, that's that thing I was talking about where you got to be careful and not pre-fuel or fuel too much during your swims because it's actually not bad. I mean, not good for you. It could be bad. So I had that happen this morning. But I was working on my swim again and was really enjoying it, trying to get 7 strokes across the pool and then moving my head up, down, gliding more, gliding less. Oh, I tried something funny to see if it was fast or not. Because what you think you know about aerodynamics and aerodynamics in the water, which I guess is hydrodynamics, is not always what it appears to be. You know, like a fast fish is actually bigger in front and then tapers off to the back, kind of like a airfoil, like above ground on an airplane or on a bike. And so I pushed off the wall with a fist. And I tried both hands and it just didn't quite work. I'm not good enough at it yet. But dude, I was just as fast pushing off the wall with a fist and then 2 fists as I was open-handed, you know, with my hand flat. I don't know. I was just experimenting. I don't know if that's a smart thing. And then also I started doing better swimming, doing the S pull instead of the straight pull, the bent elbow pull, where you actually kind of do an S pull. And I don't know if that's actually, I think it totally depends on the person. It quite possibly depends on how long your arms are. If your arms are super long, then you got to put them somewhere. So maybe doing an S pull is actually more efficient than a straight, well, like a bent arm and then a straight pullback pull. And then also I grew up doing it, so maybe my maybe I'm faster at it just because I'm more used to doing it. And it was just fun to kind of mix things up. A lot of times I'll try something different and then it'll be faster for a lap or two and then it'll be back to the same and then slow again. And honestly, sometimes I wonder if just changing things slightly every once in a while is faster. Oh, there's an old Toyota Supra. Nice. Cool car, dude. And it's not that old. Let's see. Oh, Paul Sherwin died. That sucks. He was one of the commentators. He and Phil Liggett for the Tour de France. And there was something else. Oh, Zwift released a notice that their gaming had a problem with it where I don't know if if they predicted this or not, but they only went up to 25 levels, and there's a lot of people that are way over 25 levels, and you get it by experience point. You get so many points per mile and stuff like that, so you level up and level up. Anyway, so they've upped it to 50, and it's, I don't want to get into it now, like how you level up and all that stuff. It's if you're already over the 25, now it's open to 50, they give you, there's an option to get those points that you deserve at a much faster rate because you really already deserve them. But I was super excited to see, I didn't see any triathlon bikes on the list, but I found a list of possibly what you get at the different levels. And maybe it's like level 40 or something like that. You get an aero helmet, like a Bell Javelin, like, I guess, teardrop helmet. It's freaking cool. And then possibly at level 50, there was a question mark next to it. A disc wheel. Disc wheel. All right. That's it. I'm gonna get off the mic and go for a run. Out, bang. Well, my standing while biking, standing to pedal up hills, is continuing to pay off big time. If I mentioned it earlier, I've started adding more of that in on my workouts because I noticed that it really started strengthening things and strengthening the stabilizing muscles, and then I'm able to do it when I want. I don't have to do it, so I was able to start doing it, and it started fixing my plantar fasciitis and my calf injury and all this stuff. And I guess it's dosing me with strengthening, and then that better strength handles the load a whole lot better. I remember a while back, a couple of years ago, a year ago, when I started trying to do that I had spent so much time in the aero position training for Ultraman, getting low in aero, that standing to pedal was actually difficult. I felt unstable and weak and just like a mess. And I think that's what led to a lot of injuries, is that destabilization. And so there's also this thing, if you could do up to a 50-mile trail run on your training, based on your training from an Ironman, because of all the running you do, and cross back and forth. They're like actually really good for each other if you do standing and pedaling. But anyway, so I've been adding in more standing and pedaling to climb up hills on Zwift. And or you could do this outdoors, whatever you want. And suddenly, on my runs, having what happened was, a few runs ago, I'm just jogging along, and I noticed my pace was suddenly on a run like much faster than usual. And I was like, well, I'm not running any faster. I was, but I didn't feel like I was running any faster. I didn't feel like I was trying any harder, and I didn't feel like I was doing anything different. If anything, my cadence, my turnover actually seemed to be even lower, oddly. And this has been going on for a while. And today, same thing. And so I really was paying attention. It just happened just like 30 minutes ago. So I really started paying attention, like, what is going on? What am I doing differently? And I noticed that even though it was a slower turnover, I was able to push off with my calves, use my calves a whole lot more to push off, especially on the uphills. And apparently, even though it's a slower turnover that I was doing and more relaxed and everything, that extra push was generating on average more speed. Felt good, but it didn't feel like I was trying. It felt like I was trying less, and I was running faster. And that reminded me, you know, when you train for running, if you're running hilly stuff, man, your calves are what take the load. So anyway, I'm super, super excited that my running seems to have been bumped up by and improved. And it seems to be an injury prevention and repair method by when you climb hills on the bike, make sure to spend some time in a low gear and standing and pedaling and really working it. And getting your, it just like, it strengthens everything. And on the bike, it's a really controlled environment. Anyway, I got to go into W to the ERK. I got a meeting in a little bit. All right, out, bang. All right, we are hiking. I'm with the Boy Scout troop. You can hear us hiking. It's been dumping rain, but we got to get in our practice hikes to go to Philmont. Started training a couple months ago. And the way you train for this is hike without a backpack, then start adding a big backpack. These are big, like, frame backpacks that you see people hiking the Appalachian Trail and stuff with. And then start loading up the backpacks with gear, more and more equipment. One thing you're definitely doing is testing over time your boots and see where your backpack rubs you. See if you start chafing and getting blisters. And then there's a lot of the boys learning what actually works as far as gear and stuff for the weather. Like, it's been dumping rain. It's 35 degrees, whatever. How do you stay warm? It's pretty neat. All right, hold on. All right, I'm back. So we got 8 of us. I think there's 9 going on the backpacking trip next summer. That'll be a podcast. There's bears. Gotta put food up in bear bags at night. Big elevation gains. And we're coming from almost sea level, so it'll be pretty cool. Wait, here comes Kai. I'm recording for the podcast.
Oh, so was Mom.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Are you ready for, how many miles do you think we hiked?
Like 1.
4.5.
That's where we're at right now?
Yeah, 2 hours. 4.5. Your backpack feel pretty loaded down?
Feels light. I put my school backpack in with all my stuff in it.
All your books?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. It's pretty smart.
No,
And
I
you-
don't trust you.
You lost a tooth.
Yeah.
This got real primal real quick. Spitting blood. You're hiking so hard.
Yeah, I was spitting blood for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or like 30.
Was it on that nasty ass beef jerky that Owen gave you?
No, it was that Lara bar. That's why I said I wanted the peanut butter one. Because
You bit in on a big nut?
Yeah, big nut.
Yeah. So
Big nut.
that's why Amrita bars are better.
Yes, that is
It's
correct.
little seeds and stuff.
Yeah, instead of big chunks of nut and almonds that knock
It's
your teeth out.
Yeah, knock your teeth out. Well, this has been accidental best commercial ever.
Yeah, it was a good day. We had a little recovery time. Yeah, I was trying to do like a report off of like a race or something.
Oh, okay. Let's say this is a race. What's the... Who's in the lead?
Caleb is up there.
Yeah.
We're in the back talking. I'll probably do a sprint at the end.
Oh, talk about all the water crossings we did.
There were about 7 crossings that were about 20 feet like
Long.
long. And it covered up the whole trail, and it was about 5 inches deep.
At least.
At least 5 inches deep, and there were no way to get around it.
Yeah.
There was no way to get around it, so we had to walk straight through it. It was miserable, and my feet are cold, and it's cold outside. So,
Are your hands cold?
a little bit.
Yeah.
My feet hurt.
Good. This is good training. Philmont will be easy after all this. All right.
That's what I
Cool.
need.
What?
Hiking shoes that are waterproof.
Hiking boots.
Hiking boots.
Yeah, I might get some ultras. I want hiking boots to have that same stuff in it, that Ego Boost or
Ultra.
Adidas Boost or Ultra Boost, whatever they want to call it.
They have them. Adidas have some.
Yeah.
I almost said Adidas.
Adidas.
I'm so used to saying Adidas.
I want to get some hiking boots with that stuff in it because that stuff's insane. It's so good. Especially with a heavy backpack, you know? You're carrying like a third again of your weight or so, maybe. I wouldn't say that, a quarter of your weight again on you for 10 miles. Oh, whoa, somebody's filming a video.
No.
Yeah, they are, look. Is somebody gonna propose to somebody? Go over there and tell them to shut that music off because I can't have it on my podcast or I'll get it pulled down. Oh, I thought I knew that guy. So there's a photographer and a girl and her boyfriend, and they're
I don't know why they're
taking woods photos. That's the kind of stuff my mom says. We need to take a family photo. She wants to drag us out into the swamp, have us hold a muskrat, and be like, "Look, we're a happy family." I'm like, no, Mom. No.
Hide your kids.
Hide your kids. Hide your wife. There'd be muskrats all up in here. All right, I'm gonna get off the mic. It's been a good hike, man.
Yeah.
Good job. Yep. You're getting better at it.
I can see the end. It's right there.
There it is. All right. I think it's about time to start wrapping up this show. We are leaving the pool. It's Monday morning for a nice little swim. Pool was all milky, murky, nasty, which I temporarily told myself, you know, this is good training for open water swimming, but ugh. And warm. People need to shower before they get in the pool, man. Makes it all nasty. And then it gets hot if you're starting to swim, so feeling a little bit better. But I had a good training tip. I had something happen Sunday on my bike ride where, oh, I've got totals too. Totals for the week. I like doing this. Totals for the week. Sounds kind of fun. It's a good motivator. And I can't see out of my car. Oh. Man, we had a ton of rain the past few days. And then I think Kai's backpack leaked water. Or I wonder if it's my backpack. All in my car from our backpacking trip. But anyway, there we go. I need to wipe my windshield. I can't see, and I think it's actually from the inside from all the moisture. Looks like it's a mix, inside and outside. A little bit of ice on the outside. We get ice down here. Not in Houston, but I'm about an hour and a half northwest of Houston, inland. And we do get some much colder weather. Somewhat colder. Anyway, I was doing my bike ride, and I noticed that my quads were cramping up like pretty bad. If I stood to climb, my quads seized. Man, I got to do some work on this windshield. This is a mess. Let's get some defrosting going. My quads would start seizing. Oh, this thing's all messed up too. That's why I can't see out that window. No. This is screwed up. On the hill climb, standing to climb. And I was like, that's interesting. And then that was about an hour in, and I was planning on doing 2 hours. And then it kept getting worse and worse. And then about an hour and 40 minutes, about an hour and 40 minutes, I started thinking, you know what, maybe I should quit. Because this is, this might be at the point where I'm no longer improving myself. This is a signal that I've done enough. And I started doing some mental math, going, I think I did train more this week. And that's when you get cramps, a lot of times, is you've over fatigued your muscles. And that's definitely a sign that nothing you do from here on out is actually going to be of any benefit. You need to rest so that you can rebuild and recover. And so then I did another hill climb. These are real short. And then I was like, yep, that's it. I'm done. And got off the bike. But it was really cool. The 2 days in a row for 2 hours each ride. I did a 2 hour ride after a 1 hour run, kind of like a reverse brick. I like doing those right now. It's a long story. But I was averaging over 260 watts, like 262, 263 sometimes. Average for the entire ride, which is nice. Merging. There we go. The Nissan Xterra's got this problem where it doesn't like to run the heater unless I'm accelerating or like giving it some good gas. Then the heater works. Same thing with the AC. It's kind of weird. I think it's wired wrong. Anyway, so that's your training tip: is 1, know your numbers. Like how many hours per week, how many miles per week have you been going? So that and how much hard have you done more hard efforts? And then you know that when you start cramping specifically in specific muscles, like your quads, for example, not all over, but in like specific muscles, you've worn those muscles out and they're trying to say, that's it, I'm done. They're trying to protect themselves. You've officially you've done it, dude. It's a good sign, man. That means you can stop. And that's what I did. I was like, well, I guess I'm done. And that's nice. And I went back and looked at my total. So I've got Training Peaks set up for myself and my coaching clients where I can see the totals per week, hours and miles. And yeah, I had increased my running and my biking compared to the previous 2 weeks a little bit. And that was the sign. So hours for the week are pretty cool. 14 and a half hours of training, up from 13, and it was like 13 hours and 15 minutes or something like that from the week before. So way over an hour jump. And a lot of it was an increase in running and biking. So numbers, let's see, 12,500 yards for swimming, and then 3 hours of training. Oh man, I didn't do my hours for biking and running. I got them, but I don't remember off the top of my head. But let's do miles. 150 miles of biking, and let's see, 33 point something miles of running, which is nice. It's nice. And then 2 hours of hiking with the Boy Scout troop, but I didn't include that. I kind of should, but I kind of don't want to. It's not, the hours really weren't so much. I don't want to include those hours so much. What's really cool about the hiking is you could feel the fat burning going because we were wearing heavy packs. I think if I wasn't wearing a 30-pound backpack, it's not that heavy, I know, but it's still relatively heavy. If I wasn't carrying that, then it would have been just like a casual stroll, and it definitely wouldn't have been a workout. But the heaviness of the backpacks made it much better. Yeah, my windshield keeps freezing. I think I've got this issue where this puffy jacket is so warm. I feel a lot warmer than I normally would at this temperature outside. I think it's a lot colder than I realize. And this super cool puffy jacket is insulating me from the problems. I was listening to Triathlon Terran and his interview with his Dave. Oh God, what was it? He's got a funky kind of sounding last name. It's fun to say, Blim or something like that. And all about low carb, high fat. Oh, and big news. I've struck a deal with Speedhound. Go check them out. Speedhound, I think it's speedhound.com. And they make recovery boots. Woo! So for the first time ever, I'm going to be able to get to test these out. And Speedhound is dual sponsoring Kai and I. We're gonna trade off on these recovery boots. Kai is regional or district champ in the 2-mile run in track, and then also runs cross country, and of course gets podium all the time in kids triathlons. So he's an awesome candidate for this stuff. And they also make transition mats, and they make something that I've been wanting to try out, and I've kind of tried making my own, and by tying a balloon to myself, which only kind of worked, which is those buoys you kind of air up and then tie to your waist and then swim, and they're bright colored, and then it can carry some of your swim gear in it, and this is to help you from getting hit when you swim open water. And he was talking about trying not to get hit by kayaks and such, and I was like, dude, I'm trying not to get hit by freaking speedboats doing 50 miles an hour across the lake. And I'm super excited because this means that Kai and I can start swimming across Lake Bryan again, because we have this great open water lake to do this. But yeah, it's round, and so you're out in the middle of that thing, and there's no shoreline to swim next to, really. So you're out in the middle of this thing, and you could get hit if you're not watching yourself. So, all right, there's that. Still using the Salt Stick, so check them out, saltstick.com, for our electrolytes. Really work. They work really, really well. Still doing the maltodextrin and maple syrup as my fuel, my magic fuel. And I'm trying to think what else that we got going here. We're going to do some interviews with the guy behind Speedhound, because he's got a really cool triathlon business model that's going, and just lessons for all of us on how to do more of what you love and how to bring triathlon to everybody. That's pretty cool. So I think that's it. Oh, you can support the show by going to zentriathlon.com and looking at the left-hand side of the page. There's a PayPal link. You can scroll down there and support the show with recurring or one-time donation. And it helps keep the show on the air. Spend a lot of time making the show, and those little dollars add up to pay for all the stuff that we try to get into. And my recovery's going a whole lot better with my foot. So hopefully I'm going to be entering a race really soon. And I'm on Instagram as ZenTriathlon, and also on Twitter as ZenTriathlon, and ZenTriathlon.com. And also Kai and I are going to try to make more motivational videos, because all I do is when I hang out with Kai is I'm like a motivational fire hose. I'm just like, this and that, you can do this and that, and I did this one time, and I thought I was going to die, but then I overcame it. And so he started videoing me, and to put these things on the web. He likes it because he wants to put stuff out to practice that, and so hopefully we'll have some more of that out there. Instagram seems to be a good model for that. Platform, I mean. Anyway, that's it. Everybody stay safe out there. Work the uphills, cruise the downhills, and keep the rubber side down. Out.